Hello and welcome to another AIC Productions video. Today I wanted to do a follow-up on my cheap electric Chinese skateboard, and I've now had it over a month, so I figure it's a good time to do a review on it. So starting off first off with the remote. So I still really like this remote. I think I mentioned that in the last video. It's very comfortable to hold in the hand, and sorry, it doesn't want to focus. It's very comfortable to hold in the hand, but I did lose the lanyard. That little pin that's there for the lanyard, it doesn't go through. It's not like a screw that goes through or a solid piece, and so it just sticks up through. So as you work the lanyard, it actually just works its way off that peg and out. So I did lose the lanyard, but because of its overall design, it's really not that big of an issue because you're not going to lose it. I've noticed, I've been watching a lot of videos online of other remotes, and a lot of them that copy the more expensive brands just have a big loop here for the switch. I actually really like it having this hole for my finger because I just let it sit on my finger and I'm not going to lose it. It's very comfortable. I can have a nice loose grip on it. So holding it for the length of a ride has not been a problem at all. The only thing I wish I could change on the remote is the switch for high, medium, and low. It's too small. I have a fat hand. I have fat fingers. And switching between the modes, I don't switch between the modes very much because it's not very quick and I'm fat and heavy, and so it's very slow at accelerating with me on there. But like if I'm going out with my kids, I like to put it on low so they can keep up with me, or I can keep up with their speed easier on low than I do on high. The battery indicator, I wish the lights were a bit brighter. Let's turn this on here. So it shows up in the camera alright, but when you're outside, those are pretty hard to see. Part of that is there's a big difference between the edge of the plastic here and where those lights are. They're actually buried, I think, kind of deep in there. I think there might just be a like a piece of plastic here, but the LEDs are further away on the board. I don't know if that's it, or if these just need to be a little bit bigger, but you can kind of see, depending on which angle you look at, they're brighter or dimmer. So it'd be nicer if those were a bit brighter, so when at a quicker glance, I find myself having to really look at it out in bright daylight to see what my charge is. The reverse I almost never use, unless I'm just literally playing with it. I never use it seriously. I charge it periodically, but I've never had it run out of charge. I just throw it on the charger when I remember to. I do ride it every single day, and I do drain the battery nearly every single day with the board. So, and I have done that for a month. I haven't noticed any lack of charge difference either with the remote or with the board itself because of that. So yes, I very much like this remote. No real complaints. It's comfortable to use, and the board's on, so get that back in frame. But yeah, easy to use, buttons are easy to press. The only thing I change is back here, the switch. I wish it was just like I wish there's a knob or something on that to move it up and down. That's all it needs. It's just one more piece of plastic to put on there. And then the lanyard, I wish there was a screw hole there, and that the lanyard actually went around a screw that screwed in on both sides so that it stayed in if you actually wanted to use the lanyard. Now as far as the board itself goes, like I said, I've used it every single day for over a month now. It still seems to be holding the same charge and keeping the same speed as it did when it was new a month ago. As I said, I am quite overweight. So I weigh about 260 pounds, and as long as I set my expectations well, I'm not going to be going no 25 miles an hour on this board. I can hit when it's very fresh charged and it's cool out, I definitely get the up to 12 miles an hour. As the battery drains and you drop below a little bit, it hovers in that 10 to 11 miles an hour range. And then as the battery dies, it does drop down, but it kind of sticks in that 10 10 to 11 mile an hour range for a good amount of battery life, probably more than 50% of the battery life. So you probably have 10 to 15% where you're able to go 12 miles an hour, then 50-60% where you're able to go up to 10 miles, 11 miles an hour, somewhere in there, and then it dies down from there. And then of course, if you go out and let the battery cool down, that's part of my problem. I'm still in the middle of summer here in Arizona. It was 106 degrees again today, so it's coming down. When I got this board, it was 100 and I think 117 that day. So it's definitely coming down. And as it's able to be cooler outside, I'm sure the battery will actually last longer because it won't be fighting the external heat as well as its own heat generation, and the temperature outside will keep the battery a little bit cooler. A couple things I have noticed about it is I'll go to the drive wheel. The bearings on the wheels, on the non-drive wheels, seem to be actually pretty decent. No signs of any noise or anything like that. And again, I've been putting 3-4 miles on this board nearly every single day. I do ride it every day. I don't drain the battery every single day. But they seem to be spinning pretty good and sounding fine. The trucks, and this again has a lot to do with my weight, I want to put some stiffer bushings on those. They've gotten a little creaky, a little loose. I may just tighten them up for now, but I probably will be replacing those with a little bit stiffer bushing. The drive wheel, you can see here, this inside edge has chunked up quite a bit. That's just from hitting rocks and stuff on the road. And the wheel itself, I don't know if you can see this in the camera. I'll try to find a spot here, but it actually has, like, these wheels are just normal skateboard wheels, and they show typical wear. There's actually not any chunks taken out of them or anything like that, where the drive wheel actually does have some places where it is I don't know, it's almost chunking or flaking, I guess, a little bit as it wears. I don't know if you can replace this, so that's something I'll have to see. Also, I'm going to take this wheel off at some point, the drive wheel, and see about if there's any way to lubricate the bearings on the internals or anything like that. It's gotten a little bit chunky as it spins. It doesn't seem to, at this moment, to affect performance at all, but it definitely feels a little, it's not as smooth as it necessarily was when it was brand new. I have ridden through some puddles just because we've been so stormy here. I did get this in the middle of the monsoon season, so it's hard to avoid having some of the damp streets that we've had because of that, and wanting to ride every day. So I'll keep riding it. I'll do another update in a month or so and see how we're doing. At this moment, I'm definitely still very happy with my purchase. Again, it was $160 with shipping. It was $150 for the board, and then another $10 for shipping. So yeah, still very happy with it. The only other thing I'd really wish is that it was longer, and that's just because I'm an adult, and my other longboard is a good 6 inches longer than this one. That's what I'm used to riding, so that's what I would like, is just a longer board. I probably will, when this one dies, replace it with something a little bit more powerful. I don't necessarily feel the need for more speed. The things I would really want is, this only has the one hub motor. I'd really like to have 2 hub motors for just the more even drive. So this one, I won't say it pulls to the right or left or anything, but like when you go to brake, you definitely can tell that it's just the one wheel braking. And when you go to accelerate, it just doesn't accelerate as quickly, and it'd be nice to have a little bit more torque to accelerate more quickly. So I'd like more torque and more even braking / acceleration from 2 hub motors, and I would like a much bigger battery. That's probably my biggest, I should say, complaint, because I knew what I was getting. I was getting one with only a 2200 milliamp hour battery, but to have one that had maybe a 400 or 4 point, no, I shouldn't say 400, but of 4000 or 400 or 4400 milliamp hour battery, I I can talk. Something, if I could get double the range out of this with a bigger battery pack and just a second hub motor for better acceleration and braking, I would be thrilled. The 10 to 12 miles an hour is probably perfect for most situations. I'm not commuting on this. I don't need to go 25 miles an hour. I'd probably kill myself pretty quickly, and a longer deck. So those are the 3 things I would look for in my next board. But for now, I'm very happy with this one and plan on driving it till the wheels fall off and then replacing it with something else. Hopefully at that time I can get as good a deal. I feel like I got my money's worth out of this one. I'm very much enjoying it and I highly recommend it. If you have any questions about it, feel free to let me know and I will do my best to answer those. I'll put a link in the description for it as well if you're interested in purchasing it. Anyways, thank you for watching and I hope you have an amazing day.